Hi, he's David.
And he's Dirk.
He's a monkey.
And he's a beetle.
And together we are 2D. And we saw Kubo and the Two Strings yesterday in glorious Blur-O-Vision. Thanks, Odeon.
The cinema decided to up us.
Yeah.
Basically.
So the cinema decided that focusing the projector is not something that people want these days.
It was a blur fest, and I didn't have my glasses, so it was like double blur fest.
Oh god, that must have been like watching a VHS.
It was worse.
Oh god.
At least you can define a VHS. You could barely see the long shots.
But that's a minor detail out the way. Let's talk about the film, shall we?
Do you want to kick us off with the positives?
You know what? I haven't kicked us off with the positives in a while. In fact, this might be my first time. I will kick us off with the positives. It had lovely colours.
I see what you did there. Expand on that.
But no, seriously, the actual colour palette in this movie was gorgeous, with like big, rich oranges. Like orange was a theme throughout the movie.
Oranges.
Like lots of strong reds and oranges and gold. Something like that was fun.
And blue.
And blues, yeah. But I was like, I would love to say that everything was super rich and detailed as well, but Blur-O-Vision.
We wouldn't know if it actually was.
Yeah, we wouldn't know about all the fine details on display on this movie. Thanks.
Like, we genuinely don't know what it actually meant to look like.
Yeah, we're not messing around here. We watched it in 3D. The whole thing actually looked better once you took the 3D glasses off. So I wish I could tell you how gorgeous and detailed everything was, but we simply don't know.
Like, we watched it when we walked out the cinema. The rest of the world looked in high definition
Compared.
in comparison, and it's messed up.
Yeah, it was literally jamming your face up against an old tube TV back. But again, that's beside the point, because I say just on colour palette alone, this movie is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And let's also talk about the animation on display. So really high quality quality stop motion animation, of course.
Yeah, I was going to say the puppeteering in this is brilliant.
Yeah.
On point.
I mean, Laika has in the past become famous for making stop motion films that are simply amazing. I mean, you look at it, and they are masters of their craft. They just go out of their way to push limits. In fact,
every time they make a film, they have to do something different and new, and it's just, yes.
Like, I mean, Coraline, for example, that was perhaps their least difficult one, but, like, even that had some really interesting things. I mean, this was by far the most ambitious film to date. Like, massive range of scope, and there's just so many things around, just like different things, different techniques on display, all of it done with so much care and attention. I mean, the opening scene with the mother in a boat at sea, all of that done in stop motion.
Yeah.
I heard that took like a year and a half to completely do.
This film took ages to make.
Yeah, this film reportedly took actual years, like something like 5 or 6 years to make. But I'm meandering here. For all intensive purposes, this movie, like on animation alone, is amazing. Just to see the sheer amount of attention to detail on all the puppets and the way they move, to make them move realistically in spite of their unusually gangly limbs that go with the puppets.
Ooh, and the little origami people and stuff.
Oh yeah, we haven't even touched on that yet.
Yeah.
I'm still scratching the surface, matey. And why don't you take one? I'm pretty sure you've got some things to share.
The origami people?
Yeah, go on.
Basically, the main character has a way with paper, as you would say, and he makes little folded origami stuff, and like, they're magical. It's great.
Basically, there's the main character Kubo. It possesses some level of magic. It's explained later later in the film, just why he has this magic, and the sort of areas of magic that he deals in. In this case, Kubo's thing, if you will, is manipulating paper, or at least that's his sort of signature trick, if you will.
He uses his banjo?
It's not a banjo.
It's not a guitar either.
We don't know what that instrument's called. If there's anybody who knows what that instrument's called, just chime in.
Yeah, it's like a square, long neck, free.
For the sake of this review, we're going to call it a Japanjo.
Yeah, he had a Japanjo, and he used that with his little triangle Japanjo plectrum.
Yeah,
and he'd play the music to control these puppets.
I mean, even that was impressive, just seeing him use the strings on this instrument. And the music that went with it.
It's good.
They actually must have had somebody who is ridiculously good at playing whatever that instrument is. The Japanjo. Ridiculously good at that. Got that person into the studio to record a whole lot of stuff. Because it was amazing hearing that. I actually want to seek out an album of somebody playing that instrument, just to hear somebody really going at it in the same way. Hell, I'm going to buy the soundtrack for this, on the grounds of all the Japanjo playing in it.
Good call.
Again, I'm way off topic. There is an actual sequence in here towards the start, no spoilers here, where it's the first time he starts properly manipulating paper with his guitar, which is sort of like his Japanjo, which is sort of like his version of a wand in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Harry has a wand, Gandalf has a big staff, Kubo has a Japanjo, and then there's this brilliant sequence where all the paper comes to life and illustrates the story that he does, and it happens again later in the film. I won't spoil that. That's a fantastic scene. We'll go into that in spoilers. But this particular scene is just awe-inspiring to see. It's beautiful how it all unfolds, and the way they actually move the cameras around to frame it all and just keep all the action on it. It was just sumptuous to see. And let's go on to that soundtrack, shall we, Liam? Want to take us on the soundtrack?
No, you go.
Okay. You got any positives?
Yeah, I do.
Let's go. Let's hear your positives then.
But it's not about sound.
Go. I don't care.
All right. Okay.
I want to hear some of your positives.
My positive is I was quite happy that Laika didn't go all baby on the bad guys. Like. One thing I've noticed about Laika is that when they make bad guys, they make them pretty creepy, and like in pretty much every Laika stop motion film, the bad guys are sinister, and it's like weird because you get normal bad guys, it's like scary alien, it's a zombie, but these guys, they always make this like a feeling where you're just like that's sinister, and it's like for a kids film, that's sinister feeling.
I mean, like, I don't know if I put if we're on about the two ladies with the black outfits. I don't know if I would put them slightly above or slightly below the other mother, but they were other mother levels of creepy.
They were like if the other mother was two people. But yeah, there's pretty much 3 main bad guys?
Yeah.
There's 3 main bad guys and obviously a load of troubles that they go through, but the negative, evil forces in this film, like everything they come across, tends to be a bit, oh god, that's not okay.
If we're going on Laika in general here, the other thing is, I noticed early on in this, is just how gutsy a move they actually took here. This is the first time I've seen a animated film do full-on, like, Dungeons and Dragons style, dense fantasy. Like, dense, proper magic and spirit realms fantasy. Perhaps not dragons and swords, but Eastern kind of vibes.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, tangibly, perfectly fantasy. I don't usually like fantasy movies. Usually the reliance on magic and that thing turns me right off. Give me laser blasters. But I really had to admire just how deep and thoroughly they went for the fantasy vibe. Because I say most animated features generally tend to fall into like drama, comedy, romance, that kind of thing, more family-friendly things. Fantasy is more of a niche, and it's quite interesting that they went for that. Particularly interesting, noting that their previous film was pretty firmly a comedy, and the two films before that fell quite firmly into the horror genre. Or at least as far as you can go without invoking a 12A certificate. And again, this went as deep into fantasy as it could go without completely losing the audience. I have to give them mad props for that. You got anything else?
Yeah, with the bad guys still, I like the, I was going somewhere with this. There's one big puppet in this, and that's
impressive. That one, yes.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it just yet, but there's one really big puppet in it, and that's a really great scene.
And so, in fact, there's it's like, you know how Marvel have like a little after credits scene of like a little sting, and there's like, it turns out Laika now have like a little after credits scene with their thing that shows you how they did certain things. It's like a time lapse thing. Stick around after the film to see how that particular sequence was filmed, because that little 5-second section is actually amazing.
I liked the fighting in this as well.
Yes.
Like, the action scenes were done really well.
Yeah, in fact, I have to say this. I think this may actually be have the best action of a film in 2016. Perhaps it's not as, crazy and intense as Deadpool, but by turns I got, classic kind of classic kind of martial arts movies vibes from the fights. But I also got Star Wars vibes. Not like episode 7 or 1 through 3. I'm talking about specifically I'm talking episode 6 vibes. The fight at the end with Luke and Vader, the bit where Luke just starts wailing on Vader. That bit, I got those kind of vibes from one particular fight scene, and it was really impressive. Like, there was emotional weight that got aired during the fight scenes, and I haven't even got to the voice acting yet. Why don't you take us on the voices?
I don't have much to say about the voices.
Fair enough.
They were voices. Yeah.
All the voices were pretty damn good, though, right?
Yeah.
Nobody flubbed a line. Everything was clear. It was all really well done. Do you have any more positives?
I liked the characters, even though it was like limited in characters, but the characters they did have made the difference.
Yeah, they were really good characters, didn't you say?
Like the grandma.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she was nice. Oh, and one thing before I think we stray into other areas is I say one of the more central and early ones again pretty gutsy is like Kubo is actually looking after his mother in this. Like towards the start, like his mother gains a head injury and she's like drifts in and out of proper consciousness, and it's like
kind of thing going on.
Yeah, it was like a mental health kind of theme happening, and it's really sad.
And really well done.
I was like, wow, this could be really tacky had they not actually done this so very, very well.
Like, at first, you're not entirely sure what's going on, but then, as the story progresses a little bit...
It becomes very, very clear what it was like. Like, is she blind? Is she... Oh, I get it. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, like, shortly after when she wakes up again and she says something and you're like, oh, she doesn't remember sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird because in that moment it made me think of like Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, and like in how in those films the whole forgetting things was almost like a joke, and in Finding Dory there's like a almost go-getter kind of message that Dory forgets things, but she's learning how to remember and cope with that in her own Dory way.
Yeah.
This comes at it in a far more... It comes in a far more serious and not dark, but layered and nuanced way. It's really quite interesting.
Mm.
You got any more positives?
No, I'm done for the positives for now.
Okay, and that will lead me on to the few negatives I have with this.
Negativerinos.
Why don't you start off?
I feel, obviously in a film like this, there's kind of a main bad guy. That's a given, right?
Yeah.
I felt...
It's a high fantasy thing. There's always going to be a bad guy in this kind of thing, right?
I felt it was a little bit anticlimactic, and I wasn't a fan of the last bad guy's design.
Okay, that's interesting. I actually quite liked the design of the final bad guy.
After watching the whole film, I felt that last bad guy, I don't know, but to me, it didn't feel like the art style was right. Like, I felt they should have done something different, but that could just be me not liking the bad guy.
Yeah. I would say I only have a very few gripes for this. The only one that came up for me with any kind of consistency was that the film, I don't know if it could have done with slowing down a few times. Some parts of its structure felt like it at some point it just launched into full stride and never properly slowed down. And I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate that to a certain extent. It was nice to see a movie that really embraced the full, like, dangerous journey thing. But I don't know, something in the pacing didn't quite feel right for me. My only other consistent gripe with the movie is that there are certain things I think they could have taken just a little extra time to give you some background information on, because like it's not altogether too clear as to why Kubo can play the instrument and make the paper dance.
I wanted more Japanjo than paper dance.
Fair enough. Like that was brilliant.
The start, like they have lots of it, and then they have a little bit of it, and then it's kind of forgotten towards the second half of the film.
Yeah. I think there might be some kind of deep message about maturing in there, but for me it was like certain elements could have done a little more explanation for me, because it did the one thing that I don't like fantasy movies doing, which is basically go, because magic, roll with it.
Yeah.
I usually like there to be some kind of setup, and there were certain elements of this that I think could have been explained just a little bit better. Particularly like the area that Kubo, the like world that Kubo goes to once the film starts properly and we meet Monkey. Like, I wasn't entirely sure where or what that world was. I'm not even too sure now. It doesn't make a lot of difference because the film was overall great, but it was kind of a jarring thing for me because every now and then I'd just get distracted by it. So is this, by what everything was, and little things that didn't quite fit for me.
Still in the real world.
Yeah, I was assuming that too, but it was like, so this happens, and I was like struggling to quite connect certain things. Again, it didn't stop this film from being amazing, but certain little details, for me anyway, I thought they needed a little bit more explanation.
Oh yeah, make sure it's not a blur fest. That's
check with your your local cinema, but whether or not they focus their projectors properly before seeing this movie. Seriously though, that was bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that leads us on to the verdict, and I'm pretty sure you can guess where this is going. But Liam, what's your verdict?
Go see it. Ding, 1.
And that makes it a 2, because I give it a 1 as well. Go see Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah.
Go see it in 3D if you can, because I'm told
it looks good.
I'm told this has a good 3D presentation. I wouldn't know because ours was so far out of focus that it ruined the 3D presentation.
It's like, oh look, a 3D blur. What is that?
It's like, wow, I would be able to make out this depth so much better if I could see it.
Like, I feel we miss little details as well.
Yeah.
You know, the little paper people and things.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't really watch them because they where were they?
Yeah.
Can't see, it's blurry.
Super disappointing. But anyway, Kubo and the Two Strings. Really, really good movie. And you should totally go see it.
Yes.
And you know what?
I do know what.
Do you know what?
You know what?
You know. You know what time it is. It's time for spoilers!
Yeah.
Spoilers!
There was a giant skeleton puppet and he was amazing with swords in his head.
Oh, it feels so good to talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's talk at length about the giant skeleton puppet.
Basically, there's a skeleton with swords in his head and it's massive and it like grabs the monkey and it's like, monkey, and then there's like the beetle dude, he's like, I'm a beetle. And then Kubo's just like, ding 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 ding, get that sword.
And it's really intense too, and there's some really creative camera use in it as well, because like, sometimes in a stop motion movie, you'll see like the creators have tried to keep the camera still as much as possible to minimize the amount of like not effort but difficulty.
Yeah.
You know, to keep. No, Laika went full on this. This is the kind of cinema and camera work in this belongs in top flight action movies. I was seriously reminded of things like Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. Or there's a couple of really good action movies, or like Mad Max. Yeah, those kind of like big action movies, like fast cuts and long sweeps, where everything that you need to see is perfectly framed and in focus.
Yeah.
Like, the camera was moving around as much as everybody else was, but everything was perfectly shot. Nothing just like whizzed by. It was just like,
We assume so anyway.
we assume so anyway.
From what we could see.
But like, really well done for this bit. While the skeletons like grabbing our heroes and throwing them around,
while the beetle's flying and it's like dodging his attacks and it's just staying on the beetle and going over the head and stuff.
And then like the actual skeleton itself, if you actually see it, it stands like something like 3 meters tall, I think it is. I need to look it up at how big it actually is.
Like, they were humans, like, standing...
Yeah.
Like, that was the size height of a human, it was, like, that big.
It was bigger than... Its chest alone was bigger than a human.
You'd have to go up step ladders to, like, touch its head.
Yeah.
Size.
It was massive. And you could just see it in this last, like, 5-second little glory segment.
In the credits.
Bit before the credits of, like, hey, we're Laika, look how awesome our puppets are.
It just showed them, like, working on it and stuff. And then right at the end, as the curtains were closing, it went to us hack one of their people, and I was like, that's a nice touch.
It was so cool to see. Like, man, that skeleton was really cool. And it was really well introduced, or like...
Yeah, the hand.
Yeah, like the way it transitioned to it. And it's really cool as well, because it, like, it showed really well just how, like, dangerous the world that Kubo was in actually was. It was a really good introduction to the kind of danger that Kubo would later face.
Yeah. And there was danger because, like, Monkey got hurt and stuff like that, and it's like, Then the two sisters, they have masks on, and they have really cool, like, swinging knife weapons.
And they are seriously creepy.
And I love the orange boat made out of leaves.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
That's such a great idea.
And the underwater eyes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that plot point, the monkey being, like, kind of the mum sort of thing, felt weird for me. Because it was like, oh, we're underwater. Oh, I've seen the monkey and my mum. And then he's like, they're just talking like, as if they, like, I don't know, it felt weird to me for that to be, they didn't explain it well enough. They should have said, I'm your mum's magic. I'm not actually your mum, but I kind of am your mum.
Oh, so she was actually her mum's magic, his mum's magic.
I don't think she was like her mum is the lady. She is the true form of, like, the mum. She isn't, I don't think she's actually a monkey. But
the magic, she kind of dies.
She used the magic to make the monkey, but because the magic was her mum, like, the mum pretty much died at the beginning.
Yeah.
And the magic is the monkey, which is still her mum because it's the mum's magic. See, it's just...
See, this is what I was on about. A couple things needed explaining, namely monkey.
It's like, mum, and then she's like, my son, and it's like, but the mum's at the beginning dead.
Stop. The mum's dead. How? What? Why?
From what I understand.
How? Where did we get to how did we get to this point? I kind of don't care because this is great, but how?
So technically the magic is for mum, but it's not for mum at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dad.
Yeah.
You would have thought the little paper puppet would have been like, pointing at the dad like...
Actually, yeah, let's talk for a moment about the tiny little origami.
He
was
so
really good.
Like when the helmet falls on him and he's just like pottering around and stuff. That is so good.
And it was like the bit where we actually introduced the one tiny little origami samurai. The bit where a monkey's like, Kubo, wake up. It was like, oh, he's there. He's just been sitting there for hours. Silently judging us. I just laughed out loud.
Usually they stop being animated while they're awake. Oh, and when it climbs up the hill and he like turns it left and it's like, no. No.
Like for an entirely mute little comedy character, it has its own.
Literally just like,
yeah.
That way. Go.
It has its own very clear and distinct personality. It was really fun watching it.
Yeah.
It was just really funny watching this one's like origami samurai just be sassy.
Also, the ending was kind of strange. Like, I know we shouldn't really spoil the ending too much, but I felt it was like, I said it was anticlimactic because in a way it was like, he's all like big doom and gloom and he's like fighting him and stuff, and then suddenly he's like, I'm Grandad again. And then they all kind of just tell him that he's this person that he's probably not, and it's like, what? This is weird.
I got that bit, but it, again tying into the whole, this movie could have explained a few things a little better.
Yeah. Because,
like, at the end of the big fight, which is amazing, by the way, I don't want to spoil the big fight for you, but the resolution of it all is that the big bad of the whole thing turns into Kubo's granddad, and there's the whole village kind of welcome him in, and I got that. The one thing I want to talk about is the rather awkward cut right at the end, because there's the bit where Kubo's praying to the two like little lanterns, and he's like, I just wish you could come back or something. And then it immediately cuts into these like big flying golden cranes, and like it picks up, and you see the two ghosts of Kubo's mum and dad next to him. I kind of get the feeling that was an alternative ending meant for some regions but not others. I could be being totally cynical on this, and maybe that's how it's supposed to end.
Yeah, I know what you're on about. Yeah, that was a bit strange. It was suddenly lanterns turned to birds, and it was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was like, obviously he's come back later, and it's like, it could have done like a, maybe even just a fade out.
Or a zoom out, just... Yeah.
Or something, instead of just, BAM! And here's that, and it's like, I wish you were here. BAM!
Bam! There you are!
And like, bam! Cut to the, like, reassuring bit of Kubo with the ghost parents. I get the feeling that might have been for some audiences, but not others. Like, maybe the 3D version had that, but the 2D version doesn't. Or, like, there's a UK version and a US version, and the US version just leaves it at Kubo being a bit sad. I don't know. I really don't know, but that one cut seemed super awkward, and I kind of want to know why it was there.
I love the fact that when he breaks up a lantern at the beginning, nothing happens, because it's like, ooh. Like, you don't think about it until later on, but that's because, like, he's alive and stuff. It's like, that's why the lantern doesn't glow. His dad was alive.
Oh!
Yeah. So while he was getting all upset that his dad wasn't coming, it's because he's still kicking. And it's like, that's nice.
Oh, that's a cool little one.
And then obviously they go to the end because they both die. They die. That dies super easy.
He totally jobs.
I'm a warrior, and he's like, I'll protect Kubo.
He does die protecting Kubo, though.
No, he's just talking.
That's pretty heroically.
He just stands there talking to Monkey, and they get stabbed in the back.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, I will protect him. He's just there like, oh, shit. But no.
I suppose while we're here, I'd like to close out our spoiler section with one of the shots that sticks in my head the most of this movie. And that's this one shot of, like, Kubo with the Japanjo.
Japanjo.
Yeah, it's got no strings on it at this point. He's, like, destroyed all the strings, like, magicking it. Using it for magic. And so he gets a couple strings and puts it on. And the way it's done reminds me of like old action movies where you get like the glory shots of people the action hero loading up a big machine gun, like cocking a shotgun, that kind of thing. Yeah. But it's just Kubo stringing up an instrument. But the way it's done makes it feel like he's loading up some kind of powerful weapon. It's like, damn, that is actually some really good work there.
Oh, that's a good point. When he uses it, it's like, pow, attack. Pow, attack. I wanted him to rip out some ribs or something, like, get wrecked. Guitar Hero style, like...
From the fire of the flames, 100%, bitch!
Well, it's like zapping him. Blue flames, dude!
Freeze down! Basically, what you're saying is you wanted it to end like the Pick of Destiny.
Yeah. Like, you give a main character a guitar as a weapon and you don't use it properly against the main boss? What? That's like Harry Potter and Voldemort, okay? He should have exploded, but no, he peels away. It's that feeling.
Fair enough, I
feeling.
Get you, Sam.
I wanted epic, I'm gonna wreck you with my guitar while dodging you vibes.
Basically, what you wanted was just Kubo, like, duck walking while playing an awesome solo.
I wanted the tentacle dude. I'm gonna go with tentacle dude for some
reason.
Go
on, stay with tentacle dude.
I wanted the
Let's see where this goes.
To, like, keep trying to attack him while he's, like, running around and dodging while playing, like, guitar with all the paper things helping him and stuff. Like, that would have been sick. And then obviously for the fire and the flames. And it's like eventually wrecking him, like, poof, and killing him. Rather than just 1, 2, 3, you're a granddad again. This isn't that film I can't think of where she taps her feet together.
That's the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it's not. No place like home. No place like home. No place like, it's kind of like that instead of, I'm gonna wreck your fam. It's not Paranorman ending.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Paranorman had a really intense ending, yeah. I mean, I actually loved Kubo's ending. I gotta say, I loved it. I mean, the fight was awesome, and I thought thematically, the way that he sort of ended the fight with, like, magic guitar, I mean, thematically, I loved it. But I totally get where you're coming from. Just one last solo on that thing would have been super cool.
The last hurrah with his parents.
Yeah.
Hair on it.
And I think that closes us down.
Yeah, this has been a long review.
But really good. Felt good talking about this movie. Feels good to talk about a good movie. Like, I mean, we had some real stinkers recently, or at least divisive ones. But yeah, it feels good to talk about this. So
take it easy.
Yeah. And so I guess with that, 2D out. Peace.
Peace.
Pace.
Peace. Peace. Yeah.